Hello students, welcome back to our mathematics class. My name is Anjali and today we are going to discuss chapter 7 for class 7th mathematics. So students, before starting my class, I hope you all are fine and safe at your places and doing good. So students, let's begin with our today's lesson. So I am going to show you something, okay? What you have to do, you just have to observe it that what you have seen. Yes, students. Are you able to see something? Yes. You can see you are able to see a line which is AB, the name of the line. Very good, students. Now, if I show you something else and tell me what do you observe now? You must be saying that there is another line CD, right? So, we have two lines AB and one is AB and one is CD with us. So, students, if I ask you that whether these two lines are congruent or not, then what is your take on it? Yes, you will say that it is looking like congruent, but for that, what we have to do? We must have to check out that whether they are congruent or not. Okay, very good, students. Now, if I ask you, what about this? What can you see over here? Yes, there are another two lines which are of 5 centimeter in length. Both are of 5 centimeter. Okay. So students, if I ask you that, uh, I know that you have clarity of the concept that how angles are made, right? They are made by joining the lines only. So students, if I ask you that you have to show the congruency of lines and angles, that how the lines are congruent, how the angles are congruent. So are you aware of it, that how can we do that, or how can we show that the two lines are congruent, the two angles are congruent? No? Okay, so alright students. So today our topic of discussion is that only, regarding the congruency of lines and angles with its concept and example. Okay, so we are going to discuss the congruence of lines and angles with its concept and examples. Okay, so students, basically the congruence of line segments if we are discussing, so we will say that two lines, they are said to be congruent if we trace one line to the another line and it is exactly superimposing. Okay, if we use a tracing paper and superimpose one line to the other, and such that one is basically totally hiding beside the other, so we will say that AB and CD are congruent. Okay, so what we will find, that one point is lying on the other. Like for the line segment, if I take AB and CD, so what you will say? Yes. First is this, second is this. If this is AB, this is CD, such that they are superimposing, so A will lie on C and B will lie on the D. So students, we will say that these are the two congruent lines. Okay. Yes. And also you can say that if they, yes, they are lying, A is lying on the C exactly, B is lying on the D after tracing the both the lines. So we will say that AB is congruent to CD. And this is the representing of the congruent symbol, students, as we have discussed in our last class, that the lines AB and CD, if they are congruent, or if two figures are congruent, so what we can do, we can represent it by this congruency symbol. Okay. So I hope now you have got that what is the of congruence of line segments, how the two lines are congruent. Very good, students. Now students, let us move ahead. Now students, it's your time to just think and answer that what about, students, the congruency of this if we are discussing. So will these be congruent? Yes, definitely. Why, students? Yes, because they are of equal length also. AB is also 10 centimeters, CD is also 10 centimeters. So if we will trace them, both the lines will superimpose each other, right? One line will hide behind the other because they are equal in measurement. So students, how can you represent the congruency of these lines? Write down in the comment section or in your notebooks. You can write the congruence of these lines. If you have to represent, how will you write? Yes, you just have to make sure that you are using the congruence symbol. Okay, if we are saying that AB and CD are congruent to each other. Very good, students. So you must be saying that we will represent it like this: AB equal to, and a small curve sign is congruent to CD. And what about, students, the next figure? This, what you will say, are these two lines congruent? How will you say that? Yes, you will say that we will, in this case, we will trace it, use the trace copy and just see that if these two lines are hiding behind one another or not. If they are hiding, so AB will be congruent to CD. If they are not hiding, so AB will not be congruent to CD. And what about, student, if I ask you that whether the third one, is it congruent to each other, the AB and CD, whose measures are 4 and 3 centimeter respectively? Very good, students. So if you are saying that they are not congruent, you are correct, because we can see that they are different in length. So if one, yes, very good. If one is 4 centimeter like this, you can take this as 4 centimeter and other is this much 3 centimeter. So when we will trace it by keeping it over one another, we will find that some portion, this portion is not superimposing with the another marker or line, you can say. It will be left somewhat. So AB is not congruent to CD. And how can we represent the not congruent sign, students? Yes, what we will do, we will write this congruence and just put a cross mark over it. So this is representing that AB is not congruent to CD in the third case. Now students, it's your time to answer it in the form of true or false. If it is saying over here that MN is congruent to EF, or vice versa, we can say EF is congruent to MN. So is this congruence true or false? You just can take your time and just analyze it, how you will say that these two are congruent. Okay, very good, students. So if you are saying that it is exactly true, you are absolutely correct, because we can see why. Yes, because MN and EF, they are of equal measurements, equal length. So when we will superimpose this over one another, so they are exactly going to superimpose, hence they are congruent. So it is correct. Now students, tell me that what do you see on your screen? Very good. Few angles you can see, they are forming, few lines are forming the angles. Okay, and by looking, can you say, are these two angles equal or not? First of all, tell me this. Yes, they are not looking like equal, they are varying in their measurements. And what about, students, these other two angles? Yes, here also you must be wondering that these are all actually different from each other, right? So now students, let us discuss about the congruency of the angles, that how can we say one angle is congruent to the other angle. Okay, since we have already discussed that what is congruence and now what is the congruence of line segment, let us move to the congruence of angles. So students, first of all, tell me that how can you represent actually the congruence of the two angles? Yes, you must be guessing it right, that what we will do the same in the same case we have done with the line segment, we will do here also. We will try to superimpose the two angles. Okay, if they are hiding one beside the other, we will say they are congruent, and if they are not hiding, they are not congruent. And even by looking also, students, you can say that yes, these angles are not congruent, which I am showing you right now. So let us move ahead to discuss the congruency of angle, students. So basically what we will do, if we have an angle PQR, so we will make a trace copy, exactly the same copy of the angle PQR, like this. Similar copy we will make angle ABC, and then what we will do, we will superimpose on it, and then we will find that Q point is lying on the B, Q E is line segment lying on the BA, right? And QR, where it will fall? It will fall on the BC. Very good. And so we can say that this angle is actually matching with the angle ABC. So they are, students, they will be said to be in the congruent. Okay. Yes, because we can say that the P point will be lying exactly on the A. It will superimpose. The Q point will be lying exactly on B. R will be lying exactly on R, and this angle will be exactly lying on each other. So in this way, we can write it as that angle ABC is congruent to angle PQR. Okay, they will be congruent to each other. So students, if we write that the angle ABC is congruent to angle PQR, we can also write M angle ABC equal to M angle XYZ or PQR. Why M? M means the measure of these angles, that how much are these angles. Okay. So similarly, students, we can write or as M angle ABC is congruent to the measure of angle PQR. Okay, very good, students. So now let us move ahead. So what can you see on the screen, on the slide? Very good. They are showing us the angle. And what is the student measure of the angles they are giving us? Yes, they are giving us one as 60 degree and one is another is also 60 degree, students. So what do you think? Are these going to be congruent, these two angles? You must be wondering that because these two angles are coming out to be equal, so they will exactly congruent to each other. Okay, very good. So here, since this is also 60 degree, this is also 60 degree, it means the measure of the two angles is coming out to be the 60 degree same. So they will superimpose each other, and we can say that these two angles are congruent. And very good, students. Now let us move ahead. So if basically I have to represent symbolically, how can I represent that angle PQR, congruency sign in between angle ABC? Like this, in this way they are congruent to each other. Now students, what about the congruence of these angles? What will you say? Yes. So we will say that one angle is 30 degree, one angle is 40 degree. So students, if you will superimpose these two angles, what do you think? Are they going to hide beside one another? Yes, definitely they are not going to hide, because one angle is 30 and 40 is, yes, larger than the 30 degree. So we will definitely see that they are not going to superimpose. So we are saying, students, that these two angles are not congruent to each other. Okay. Now students, let us move ahead. So what do you observe on your screen? Yes, you must be seeing that there are so many houses, right? Houses are located. Very good. So now students, if I ask you that what about the congruency, are there any angles you can say which are congruent, or the lines, the congruency of lines, if you can highlight? Yes, in order to highlight the same, what you will do, that you have to mark the angles actually that which are the congruent, and we will say that it is looking exactly same. So here also students, these angles are congruent to each other. They will superimpose also, if we can see, or exactly they are looking like the copy of each other. So we can see that they are congruent, like the highlighted in the red mark. And what about students over here? Are you able to see any congruency in the angles? Yes, basically these are slices where we can see that these two angles is equal to this angle is equal to this, and this, the center one, are also equal. So if they are equal, definitely they are going to be congruent angles. So like this we can highlight congruency. So students, now it's your time to fill in this blank, that if two angles have the same measure, they are dash. What are they said to be? You can write your answers in the comment section, students. Yes, you are giving the right answer. They are congruent. Let's move ahead now, students. What do you see? Yes, they are giving us some of the angles, like the angle A and angle B are highlighted over here. Okay. And what about students, this image? What are you able to see? Yes, there you are seeing that some of the lines are equal to the other lines of the triangle, another triangle, and some of the angles are equal to the another angle. For example, here we can see that angle R is equal to the angle J of triangle KJL, and in triangle RST we can say angle S is equal to angle L of triangle JKL. Okay. Yes. Now students, if they are equal, so definitely we will say that they are congruent, right? And what about students, some kind of congruence angle are you able to see over here also in the rail crossing road? Yes, you must be seeing them. The blue color angles, they are equal, and the green color angles, they are equal in measurement. So we will say that the angles are equal in measurement, so they are the congruence angles. Okay. Now students, we are going to basically discuss some of the angles, some of the examples based on the congruency of angles. Okay. Of the or line segment also. So if I focus upon these two angles, students, what we will say, that if we have to write that these two angles are congruent, so what we have to actually see? Yes, basically we have to focus upon the measurement of the angles, which is 60-60 degree. It is equal. So these are congruent angles. And what about students, these line segment? Are these line segment congruent? You must be saying that, since we can see that there is a small one cross mark in the first segment, so they are congruent, and the second line they are also congruent because they are equal in the length and the measurements. Very good, students. So they are the few examples which mainly focusing upon the how we can see the congruence of the line, segment and angles. And now students, it's your turn to answer that this fill up that angle G and angle S are dash to each other. What they are to each other? Yes, you can give your responses in the comment section, students. That what will come in this blank. Yes, you can take students few more seconds. Very good. So if you are saying that here it will come congruent to each other, you are correct. It will be congruent. And why, students, they will be congruent? Yes, because we can see the measurement of the angle G and the angle S, they are equal to 45 degree. Yes, very good. Angle G is equal to angle S, which is equal to 42 degree. So we can say that these angles are congruent to each other. It means angle G is congruent to angle S. That is why we are writing that angle G and angle S are congruent to each other. Yes, I hope now students we are clear with that how we have to represent it in the symbol form also. These angles congruency and also the line segment. Okay, if we talk about the line segment congruence. Yes. So students, what have we discussed in our today's class? Yes, today we have learned about the congruency of line and line segment, the and angles also, and their concept related to it, and some examples we have seen. So let us summarize now our today's class. So students, what is congruence of line segment? How we can see that two line segments are congruent to each other. Yes, we can say by superimposing them, right? If they are exactly superimposing on each other, the two lines, we will say they are congruent to each other. And students, what about the congruency of angles? Yes, you will say that two angles are congruent if they superimpose each other and they are equal in the measurements. So students, you have to answer that whether the following are congruent or not. If I talk about the first, which is shown in the black, are these angle congruent, angle R and angle Q? Yes, they are congruent angles. What about the angle B and angle Q in the purple colored angles? Yes, they are also congruent because their measure is equal, which is 135 degree. And students, what about these two line segments? Are they congruent line segment? No, not actually, not, they are not congruent line segments because they are in equal, they are in different measurements. One is 4 and one is 3 centimeter. And when we will superimpose these two line segments, they are not going to hide one behind the other. Okay, rather we will see 1 centimeter will be left uncovered. So we can't say that these two line segments are congruent. Now students, it's homework time for you. The first question is saying that what are congruence of line segments? You have to answer it. And second is what is congruence of angles. And third is students, you have to check that whether these are congruent or not, the following line segments and some of the angles shown. And you have to write down the reason also students, that from which reason you are saying that the line segment is congruent, the angle is congruent, this angle is not congruent. Okay. And one activity students which we have to perform is you have to follow few of these steps. Okay, in order to make few lines and line segment. And what you will do, you will make classify the line and line segments in the pairs that they are congruent or not. Okay, you can take the different size or the same side and measure the length of the and the angle using the protector by making some of the angles and the line, check if they are congruent or not. Okay. And what you have to do, basically you have to write down your observations and calculations by the side of the chart paper itself, on which you will paste those lines and angles. Okay. And also students, you have to use, you can use the materials around you. Okay, like we are having the ice cream sticks, you can use the straws, or you can use the some kind of pins which are in the straight line to make the angles at the line segments. Okay. So you will be enjoying this activity students at your home if you will perform, and you will learn something new. Basically the application you will see in the real life, that if we are doing it with our hands, so how are we be able to classify that this is congruent or not. So students, that's all for our today's class. Now we will be meeting in our next session. So till then, thank you and have a good day. Thank you students.